So what happens when a society just falls apart from the inside? It's a pretty terrifying thought, right? Well, that's the exact question at the very heart of the ancient Sanskrit text, the Bhagavad Gita. Today, we're going to dive deep into the argument of a warrior who's literally standing on the edge of a civil war, and he's afraid that's exactly what's about to happen.
I mean, really, what holds a society together? It's a massive question, you know? Philosophers, leaders, they've been chewing on that one for centuries. And for the warrior Arjuna, this isn't some abstract debate. It's the question that's haunting him as he stands on a battlefield, about to fight a war that could bring his entire world crashing down. Okay, so let's set the scene real quick. You've got this incredible warrior, Arjuna. But here's the thing, the army he's supposed to fight, it's packed with his own family. We're talking his teachers, his cousins, even his grandfathers. And he's faced with this impossible choice, kill his own relatives to win a kingdom. So he lowers his bow. I mean, can you even imagine? What would you do? And this is where he starts to lay out this absolutely devastating chain of logic for why this war is going to destroy the very thing he's supposed to be protecting.
Arjuna's whole argument, it's like a line of dominoes just waiting to fall. And the very first one to get knocked over, it's the destruction of the family and all of its sacred traditions. He lays this out in the 39th verse of the first chapter.
Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharmaha sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmobhi bhavati uta. So right there, Arjuna is drawing a straight, unbreakable line. He's saying, if you destroy the family elders, you destroy the traditions that hold everything together. And once those traditions are gone, irreligion just rushes in to fill the void. But what are these traditions exactly? What is he talking about? Okay, so this is the key term here, Kula Dharma. And we're not just talking about some empty rituals, no. According to the commentary on the text, this is a whole system of what they call purifying processes. Think of it as a roadmap for your entire life, from birth to death, all designed to help you grow spiritually. And who holds that map? The older generation. They're the absolute linchpin of the whole system. And this really gets to the core of Arjuna's fear, doesn't it? He's seen the elders as the guardians of this entire spiritual infrastructure. So if they're killed in the war, poof, these traditions just stop, dead in their tracks. And the younger generation, they're left without any guidance, so they start to drift into irreligious habits. And the whole family, the whole lineage, loses its chance for what the text calls spiritual salvation. It's a total breakdown. But wait, it gets worse. Arjuna's argument doesn't stop with that spiritual void. He predicts it's going to snowball into a full-blown social crisis. And that brings us to the next link in his chain of fear, which he explains in verse 40.
Adharmabhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varnasankaraha.
Okay, so here's where Arjuna makes a connection that's, well, it's pretty controversial. He argues that when irreligion takes over, it leads to what the text calls the pollution of the women in the family. And from his point of view, this degradation of womanhood leads to an absolutely catastrophic outcome, the birth of what the text calls unwanted progeny.
And that term, Varna Sankara, that's the end game. That's the ultimate disaster that Arjuna is afraid of. It basically means a total and complete breakdown of the social order that all these traditions were designed to protect in the first place.
So let's just lay it all out. Here is Arjuna's entire chain of collapse. I mean, look at this terrifying cascade. It starts with the destruction of the dynasty. That leads to family traditions vanishing. Then irreligion becomes prominent. From there, in Arjuna's view, the women of the family are polluted. And the final domino? The rise of unwanted progeny, which shatters the whole social order. It's just, from his perspective, it's a devastatingly logical progression of fear.
But you might be asking, why is this specific chain of events so catastrophic? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, to get that, we have to dig into the commentary of the text, into the underlying principles. It all comes down to what this worldview considers to be the absolute foundation of a stable, prosperous society.
So, according to the commentary, the whole logic rests on this idea of a good population. That's seen as the key to peace and prosperity. And the text argues that depends directly on the chastity and faithfulness of women. The reasoning given is that women and children are seen as being more easily misled, and because of that, they need the protection of the family elders. And those religious traditions, the Kula Dharma we talked about, that's the main tool for that protection. Now, to support this argument for protection, the commentary brings in a quote from an ancient political thinker, Kanakya Pandit, and just to prepare you, it's a quote that sounds pretty jarring to us today. The view presented is that women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. And this idea is used within the text to justify why these rigid social and religious structures are needed to guide them. It really is a stark window into the worldview that underpins this entire argument.
So you see, from Arjuna's point of view, the stakes could not possibly be higher. Failing to uphold this system isn't just about one family having problems. It's about unleashing total chaos on the entire world. The text warns that a society flooded with this unwanted population is basically doomed. It's destined to fall into war and pestilence. This is the hellscape that Arjuna sees unfolding before his eyes.
All right, so we've just walked through this really intricate argument from Arjuna, right? It's all rooted in a very specific vision of social and spiritual order. And it gives us this powerful glimpse into an ancient worldview. But what's fascinating is how it brings up questions that still feel, well, incredibly relevant to us today. I mean, Arjuna's fear comes from the breakdown of a really rigid social structure. And it kind of forces us to look at this timeless tension, doesn't it? How does any society balance the need for order with the desire for individual freedom? Where do you draw the line between helpful tradition and something that holds people back? Between security and control? It's a massive question, and really, it's one that every single society in every single era has to figure out for itself.
So, if this deep dive into Arjuna's argument gave you some food for thought, we'd love it if you'd hit that like button. Maybe share it with a friend who loves tackling big ideas. And of course, subscribe for more explainers where we break down complex texts just like this one. Thanks so much for watching.